I never expected my wedding day to bring anything but good memories, and for 10 years that assumption held. The ring I slid onto Jen's finger wasn't a simple accessory. It was the platinum and sapphire band my great-grandfather commissioned in 1928, the lone heirloom our family saved after the Depression melted every other asset. Dad stored it in a bank vault until the morning I proposed, and he only released it after extracting a trembling promise. I would guard it like blood. For a decade, I did. Jen loved the story behind the stone. She showed it off at every reunion, rehearsing the history like it was her own. But 2 years ago, she discovered designer culture on YouTube. Handbags became her new genealogy. Unboxing videos filled our evenings while the hosts whispered about investment pieces. I kept a respectful distance. If a purse with a logo made her happy and didn't wreck our budget, fine. The problem was that it did wreck our budget. I'm an electrical engineer. She manages social media for a chain of gyms. Together we clear around $200,000 before taxes, enough for comfort in suburban Chicago. Comfortable is not luxury, though, and luxury is a bottomless pit. Looking back, the breadcrumbs that guided our marriage off a cliff were practically fluorescent. They began with a Gucci card holder Jen labeled a birthday upgrade, even though her birthday was 6 months away. Next came Balenciaga sneakers she swore would kickstart her jogging routine. Never mind that our treadmill still wore its factory plastic. Each delivery turned our living room into a set. She positioned the ring light, peeled tissue paper with surgical precision, and thanked imaginary sponsors while strangers in chat flooded her feed with "Yas Queen" praises. The likes lit up her dopamine receptors. The invoices darkened our mailbox. I built spreadsheets, explained compound interest, mocked up amortization graphs. She watched politely, called me adorable for playing accountant, and ordered a limited-release Dior tote the very next morning. Our first fight over money landed after dinner with my parents. Dad had mentioned retiring early to travel. Mom dreamed aloud about taking cooking classes in Tuscany. On the ride home, Jen snorted that saving pennies just to splurge when you're too old to have fun was absurd. I remember watching the lane reflectors pass like Morse code, wondering when thrift turned from a virtue into a punchline. I still shoulder blame because I let the small fires burn. I didn't question every delivery out of fear of sounding controlling. Friends advised me to pick your battles. Nobody explains that unchecked skirmishes accumulate until the war front reaches your living room, and suddenly you're surrendering furniture for walking space. Last summer, I suggested a cooling-off period after discovering 3 brand-new bags hidden behind winter coats. She laughed it off, promised no more splurges, and for a while things felt normal. I should have known peace had an expiration date. In February this year, my company sent me to Seattle for a week. I landed back at O'Hare on a snowy Thursday night, hugged Jen in the arrival hall, and noticed she was wearing a cheap silver-colored band instead of the sapphire ring. She brushed my question aside. "Oh, I dropped it off at the jeweler for maintenance. Just a cleaning." Jet lag muffled my instincts, so I let it pass. 2 days later, I opened our bedroom safe to grab my passport before filing it away, and the ring certificate was missing. The velvet box was missing. The insurance appraisal papers were missing. Maintenance, my ass. I confronted Jen in the kitchen. She flinched, then delivered an Oscar-worthy apology. She'd forgotten to tell me the jeweler needed all the documents to verify authenticity for the cleaning. You know how picky they are with heirlooms. She even pulled up a random Yelp page to prove the store's reputation. Something smelled off. I told her I wanted to see the jeweler myself Monday morning. She insisted she would go alone and save me the trip. That's when the alarm bells became air raid sirens. That night, she fell asleep scrolling Instagram while I sat in my office staring at our credit card dashboard. Two charges stood out. One to Luxury Home Boutique for $14,200 and another to Urban Jewelers for $3,800. Both the day she claimed to drop off the ring. I wanted to storm into the bedroom and demand answers, but anger is clumsy. Revenge needs precision. Monday morning, I took personal leave, drove to Urban Jewelers, and asked if they'd recently acquired a platinum sapphire ring engraved ELC to VMM. The owner recognized it instantly. My heart sank as he retrieved my ring and explained, politely, that a woman matching Jen's description had sold it 5 days earlier as unwanted from a previous marriage. He paid her 10 grand in cash, planning to resell at 16. Proving ownership was easy. Wedding photos, prior appraisals, my license matching the initials. He wasn't obliged to return it free, but he was sympathetic. I wrote a cashier's check for $10,500, his cost plus goodwill. I walked out nauseous but clutching the ring. I didn't go home. Instead, I visited Maya, a lawyer friend. She confirmed the sale was theft, but advised civil, not criminal, action. She told me to secure the ring, compile a timeline of deceit, and stay outwardly calm until I chose whether to reconcile or file. A decision that needed evidence, not impulse. I drove downtown and opened a safe deposit box at the same bank my parents once used. The clerk locked the vault, and I signed the ledger with shaking hands. On the way home, I rehearsed my lines. I wasn't sure if I loved Jen or the ghost of her. Regardless, I wanted the truth before deciding anything. When I walked in, she was photographing 4 shiny shopping bags, Louis Vuitton, Saint Laurent, Dior, and Chanel, for her story. The sight doused whatever sympathy remained. I asked straight up, "How much did the jeweler charge for cleaning?" She froze, then smiled too quickly. "Actually, they're still working on it. Parts had to be ordered." Lie number 2. I nodded, cooked dinner, and waited. Silence is heavy. Eventually, she broke. Around midnight, she knocked on my office door, eyes red, voice trembling. She confessed she'd panicked about our credit card debt, thought the ring was collecting dust, and pawned it. She claimed she'd tried to reverse the sale, but the jeweler refused. She sobbed into my chest. I stroked her hair, whispered that I appreciated her honesty, and asked if she'd mind writing the timeline so. While she wrote, my phone recorded everything. Evidence uploaded to a folder named Project Icarus. For the next 3 weeks, Jen played remorseful spouse to perfection. She deleted shopping apps, posted about minimalism, even asked if I wanted her to sell some bags. I told her I'd think about it. She interpreted that as pardon. 2 things blew her cover. First, our joint account got a $9,700 PayPal transfer from Luxury Home, labeled consignment payout. Second, she forgot to log off her MacBook. I opened Messenger chat logs. She bragged to her friend Chelsea that her tears were theater and she could spin any sob story. That was enough. The marriage might already have been terminal, but the contempt sealed it. Revenge time. When I finally boxed her handbags for consignment, that front line looked like our guest bedroom. Supple leather padded every inch, monogrammed Louis Vuittons, quilted Chanels, a limited edition Dior saddle. I photographed cereal plates under a desk lamp, recorded purchase dates, and tallied market prices. Some pieces had doubled in value while our Visa interest snowballed at 22%. She wasn't collecting. She was speculating with someone else's wallet, and the margin call had arrived. The boutique's intake specialist, Marco, raised an eyebrow when he saw a husband arrive with 15 bags, 7 wallets, and sneakers. I slid him a copy of our marriage certificate and the receipts, all signed by Jen. His grin disappeared into professionalism. He barcoded every item, handed me duplicate contracts, and stood for a security camera photo. I took a photo of him taking the photo. Redundancy is serenity. That night, while Jen slept, I opened an encrypted email address and uploaded every document to a hidden drive labeled Course Correction. A second backup lived on an iron key USB taped behind a false panel in my desk. Engineers believe in fault tolerance. Marriages should too. But here we were. A third copy sat in Maya's cloud vault, because paranoia loves company. The following Sunday, I visited my parents alone. Jen pled a migraine. Over waffles, I told them everything. Mom covered her mouth. Dad's jaw flexed so hard, the fork trembled. Their quiet support hardened my resolve. On my way out, Dad disappeared into the garage and returned with his old .38 in a shoebox. "Not to use," he said, "just for peace of mind." I declined, but when a normally measured father suggests arming against your wife, reconciliation is off the menu. Dr. Hassan, the therapist Maya recommended, labeled Jen's habits financial gaslighting. He asked me to list instances I'd swallowed discomfort to avoid conflict. The exercise filled 2 pages and left my wrist aching. He closed by saying, "Boundaries aren't ultimatums, they're property lines. When someone charges rent on your side of the fence, you either invoice them or evict them." The advice felt like permission I hadn't realized I was waiting for. He underlined the sentence twice on his yellow legal pad for emphasis. Step 1. Separate finances. I opened an individual account and rerouted my paycheck, leaving 3 months of mortgage money in joint funds so a judge couldn't accuse me of sabotage. Step 2. Appraise the designer bags. Photos, serials, receipts, then off to Lux Rehome. Illinois law treats anything purchased during marriage as joint property, so I could liquidate the items provided the money stayed within the marital estate and was properly documented. Step 3. Gather remaining evidence. Bank statements, the recorded confession, screenshots, the jeweler's affidavit, and Dad's notarized lineage letter went into Exhibit A. Step 4. Time the reveal. Our 10th anniversary was April 10th. She'd hinted at Cabo. I booked her favorite steakhouse instead. She wore a new red dress, God knows what card bought it, and slid a leather keychain toward me. I handed her a manila envelope. Inside were 2 consignment receipts totaling $48,300, a matching cashier's check, and a divorce petition citing dissipation of assets. I hit play on her messenger boast. Color drained from her face. "I bought the ring back the day after you sold it. It's in a vault. Filing happens tomorrow. The bag money covers the buyback, attorneys, and a donation to my family's foundation. The rest is a lesson fee." She lunged for my phone. I pocketed it. She knocked over her wine. I paid and walked away while she sobbed. 48 hours of chaos followed. Calls, texts, threats. I replied once. All communication goes through counsel, then blocked her. Maya filed Monday. With no kids, the court slated a quick timeline. Her lawyer suggested mediation. We settled. She kept her personal jewelry minus the heirloom, her car, and whatever savings she hadn't torched. I kept the house, retirement accounts, ring, and bag proceeds. Illinois judges love settlements that preserve courtroom hours. She demanded one last look at the ring, claiming sentimental value. My lawyer asked for an affidavit of its history. She dropped the request rather than commit perjury. We signed in June. A week later, Chelsea posted a TikTok calling me abusive. I contacted the boutique, which released a statement confirming lawful consignment, then posted redacted documents. TikTok flagged the video as false. Commenters scattered. Jen's credit spiral hit concrete. Bankrupt, she moved into her parents' basement and hawked shoes on Poshmark. I didn't gloat. Revenge isn't applause. It's balance. I treated Dad to dinner and handed him a sealed envelope containing the ring and a letter. If I ever have a daughter worthy of it, present it on my behalf. Dad, who rarely cries, wiped his eyes. 6 months later, life is lighter. The spare bedroom she used as a closet is now a reading nook. I run 5Ks on weekends. Nothing heroic but mine. Therapy helps, as does waking up without wondering which card is melting while coffee brews. I still believe marriage can work. It just can't survive weaponized entitlement. Jen didn't marry me. She married access. When the heirloom stopped being symbolic and became liquidity, something sacred died. I buried the corpse and invoiced the gravedigger. People ask if I'll forgive her. Forgiveness requires remorse and repair. She offered neither. I don't hate her. Indifference is quieter. The ring waits in the vault, patient as bedrock. Maybe someday I'll slip it onto a finger that knows legacy can't be swiped for a handbag. Until then, it rests in darkness, gleaming, unbroken, a reminder that value lives in promises kept. So that's how I recovered the ring and reclaimed my sanity completely.